Empathy Jam Galway was started 6 years ago with the express intention to advance and promote design in Galway, using a combination of industry leaders and academics from the college to provide their input and advice to current students. Every Empathy Jam begins with the MC providing a challenge to the assembled groups, and with the aid of the industry leaders, these groups must come together and assemble a prototype they believe helps to solve the problem. Our challenge during our Empathy Jam was promoting belonging and connection in the community. Any design process first begins with empathy. We needed to understand the problem from as many different points of view as possible. We needed to be able to abandon our own personal biases and think of the scenario from the point of view of the people afflicted by the problem and all the people who might be afflicted by the problem. This is often the hardest part of the design process, but is by far the most crucial. Without empathising with the user, we run the risk of creating a product that doesn't address the problematic issue. In order to better understand the scale of the issue, we went out onto the streets of Galway to meet and discuss the problem with anyone who agreed to discuss it with us. We wanted to get as many differing opinions as possible to understand the issue from a range of viewpoints. We spoke to 5 different people who all had differing views on what prevents people from taking part and belonging to various communities. We wanted to understand the problems these people faced in their attempts to connect and belong to different communities. A common problem faced by people is that they were willing to join communities, however they were unaware of the existing communities and how to actually interact with them, and how to join and meet people there. They found it hard to meet groups aligned with their interests naturally, as they found that they automatically fell into groups associated with their jobs. Whether they had anything in common with these people outside of work, it didn't seem to matter. Of the people we spoke to, we met people in communities organised by passion, like music or sport, and people organised by way of nationality or common languages. Following the interview process, we began the ideation stage. We began by simply brainstorming and creating various lo-fi prototypes and critiquing each of them. This process can be difficult, as it can be hard to see people evaluating an idea that you put a lot of thought into. However, I feel that by the end, we had done a good job of selecting and improving upon our chosen ideas. We decided to create a virtual space which helps people to explore different local communities and find groups they believe align with their interests. What we hope to achieve with this application was simplifying the process of connecting with others. Our idea was an application that changed depending on the login details of the user. If the user was a non-group member, they could log in and be presented with a list of groups in their area they could join. For a group user, a person already a member of a group, once they had logged in, they could communicate with all other members of that group, either individually or through group-wide messages, and see what activities are taking place that interested the group. We again went back out onto the street to receive feedback from the public on what we needed to do to improve our current prototype. This was a particularly helpful session where we encountered many different problems and ideas suggested to us. Some of them included people being concerned about their privacy and suggesting various profile changes. Some of the comments included the creation of a bulletin board for various groups to post about meetings and events they are having and advertising on a larger scale than they previously had been. On the whole, our experience at Empathy Jam Galway was a highly successful one. We feel we were presented with a problem and managed to progress our way through the problem, being guided by our mentors in a way consistent with the suggested design process. We enhanced our ability to empathise with people and the way in which problems are perceived by them. We received and acted upon relevant feedback. We managed to iterate and make changes to the final solution, all the while being flexible and open to new ideas. While out conducting interviews, we heard and absorbed their experiences and made changes based on what people around us needed. We empathised with their situations and scenarios and created what we thought would best solve their issues. During this user testing session, we received a lot of good advice that we took on board and applied to our next version of our project. There is an interest in the creation of area-wide groups. Just people in an area. There was no particular interest required to join the group, just lonely people in one area looking to join a community. There was an interest in an application-wide bulletin board, made it easier to see what different groups were doing on certain days and how to join those groups. There was also concerns about privacy and how users would be represented on the app, which made changes to the UX as well. All of these things we then took on board for our final production of our prototype, which you're now seeing on screen. It was a highly successful session of testing and something that we really took on board and really helped and really enjoyed doing. The user is the expert in any situation. We need to continuously refer back to the user and make sure that we're showing empathy with them during the design process. We need to understand the problem from their point of view. Until we understand the problem, there's no chance that we can find a solution. Any changes made to the solution or to our working solution need to consider the user persona at all times. When we create a prototype, we need to refer back to the user and make sure any decisions made, that they agree with them. We need to repeat this process as many times as it takes for us to be successful. And it's important for us to fail as early and as often as possible. There's no point pursuing an idea past the point of where it becomes unusable. It doesn't work for us and it doesn't work for the user, the key person in any design process.